What's going on, guys? This is Martyrs Brigade 99 coming to you once again with another session of Dark Souls PvP. Alright guys, this is the third and final installment of the three-part series that I like to title Whoever's the Fastest Gets to Prey. Now, to the extent that you guys have been following from part 1 of the series, you guys would know that in the very beginning of part 1 we listened to and checked out the dialogue from both Alvina and Shiva of the East. Right, and shortly after listening to that dialogue, we basically had a short conversation talking about so-called gankers, specifically with regard to the forest. Not talking about any other areas, but I think the forest is very distinct with regard to gankers in that the forest hunters are tasked with protecting the forest. And after reading the dialogue from both Alvina and Shiva of the East, I don't think anyone can deny that. Whereas a ganker, on one hand, has the malicious intent to just basically sit there and gank invaders, either because they are unwilling or unable to fend for themselves. Forest hunters specifically have no limitations placed on themselves because they are to get rid of the trespassers. Alright, so in the event that you guys this is the first video that you've seen and you kind of want to hear a little more in-depth information about that short dialogue, go ahead and check out part 1 of this three-part series. Alright, so we're back at it, and this time around we're going to switch it up a little bit. For the vast majority of part 1, and actually I can't even say for the vast majority, all of part 1 and part 2 included my strength mage. However, I decided to incorporate some of my pyro cleric in this video. Now, to the extent that you guys are not familiar with the channel, I basically have 3 caster builds. That is my strength mage, I have a faith mage, and then I have a pyro cleric. Now, I'm thinking about making one more caster build, which would be a pyro mage. Now that's one that I haven't had, you know, obviously one that would incorporate sorceries in addition to pyromancies. And I think with as successful as I sometimes can be with homing Crystal Soul Mass and some of the other castings, I think that will definitely be a dangerous build. Now, only thing I have to do is sit here, take what, a day or two to put the build together. So I don't know, probably sometime in the near future I may go ahead and create that build, and hopefully I will be able to showcase it, because after watching some videos from Sans' channel, good old Dark Souls Mind's Eye has his own variation of the similar build, and a few other videos that I cannot think of at the top of my head. I think that really might be a fun build to not only create but also to play with. Alright, so I just got Hornet Ring, but it's no surprise because we're in the forest and you know how these guys do. And actually, it's funny because I remember a long time ago, actually I can't say, well, kind of long time ago. Well, yeah, it is a long time ago. I remember when I first got into PvP on Dark Souls, I basically used to play the same way. Now, although I was never a housewife, you know, full giant with the ninja flipping and the mask of the mother, although I was never a housewife, I was one of those guys that ran around with the Hornet Ring. Hornet Ring, as a matter of fact, Hornet Ring and Lightning Rapier. Now, obviously this was when the game first came out and not after the most recent patch that we received that greatly nerfed lightning weapons. So, I mean, I can understand it. I know these guys are in here for their quick kills. But me, after playing this game for as long as I have and having the experiences that I have, I'm at the point to where I like to challenge myself. So, this is why, in most cases, when you see me in the forest, you will not catch me with a Hornet Ring. any power within or anything like that. And basically, this is the first time that I have showcased a caster build while forest hunting. All of my previous forest hunting videos basically just featured my either dex build or strength build, because I'm basically a pure melee type of guy. Now, these are the only, like I said before, my caster builds are the only female characters that I have. I know there's some guys that I really don't understand the logic behind it, but their argument is, if you're a guy, why would you play female characters? Number one, that has no implication on anything. I really never understood where people were trying to go with that. But I know one thing with me. To the extent that you are a caster build and you want to get more of a benefit out of your castings, the Crown of Dusk is a great option. You know, it boosts. Now, granted, you will take a hit on magic defense, but it will definitely boost your magic defense. And with that boost, I mean, number one, you're getting fairy ears. Right? I mean, that's basically what it is. They're fairy ears. And, you know, I don't know about any of you guys, but fairy ears just don't look right on a male character, in my personal opinion. They just don't look right. It just looks to me like the Crown of Dusk was supposed to be on female characters. And this is why, in most cases, if I have a female character, most of them will be caster builds. Right? And they're casters mainly because, in my opinion, female builds are more appropriate for casters. Now, I'm thinking about making a female quality build. I don't know, just kind of contemplating. I don't know, because I already have one. And actually, you know, some could call it quality, other would call it a dex build. It is what it is, but I have 28 in strength and 40 in dexterity. Right? Some will call it quality because you can use a wide variety of weapons. I basically call it a dex mainly because I am able to use all of the dex weapons, for which a lot of people tend to forget about the Murakumo. Since, you know, everybody, well, I can't say everybody, since there are a lot of katana users out there, especially amongst the so-called pros, a lot of people only think about katanas. Right? You know, because basically, you know, you have a body of players, right, who are on the Twitch or forums or something else, and they're basically acknowledged to be, you know, what you might call the elites, you know, or the go-to people. You know, they're the ones that's kind of going around and saying, you know, what you should and what you should not do with regard to build. Like, case in point, you have a body of guys. And I've been around them, and well, I used to be around them. I just kind of backed off. But you have a body of guys who, it's kind of like, because they have switched to level 100 builds, they think everyone else should switch to level 100 builds. And if you don't, they almost look down on you. Right? Now, this is what I mean, because I mean they'll basically say, now keep in mind that some of these guys are some of the top players, most experienced, and well known as being good players, for which I'm good with that. I'm also good if you think 100 is good enough for you. But to look down on other people who do not think the same, I mean, that's a little elitist in my personal opinion, but that's just me. I have my opinions because, hey, I'm a commentator. But, I mean, will I shun somebody else for not being like me? No, I won't shun you. Now, I might think some things are unnecessary with regard to matches, and I'll explain my reasoning behind it and try to motivate people to challenge themselves, which I've been doing since day one. Because think about it. I put forth a long effort to challenge people to get outside of katanas. Now, did I say that katanas were overused? Yes. Did I look down upon katana users? I didn't look down upon katana users, but I did look down on a point that people were not given other types of weapons a chance. So instead, what did I do? Put forth a long effort. And actually, I think I went a few months with doing this. Putting forth a long effort of uploading videos showcasing weapons other than katanas. Right? Because I have like a 4-part strength build series. I have a medium roll series. I have PvPing with the big boys, wherein I am using mainly some of the heaviest of weapons. I've done it all. So, some of these guys, they'll have you, thinking that, if you're over 100, that you're basically a joke, right? Because they have determined that 100 is the standard. And a lot of these guys are some of the same ones who just basically katana, darkwood grain ring all day, which I'm fine with. I don't have a problem with it. I just don't like the fact that they will shun other people who are not that way, right? There's a difference between motivating thought and basically just looking down on people because they are not on your level. That's a little extreme in my personal opinion. But hey, some people are a little more competitive than others. And in that competition, you get a whole different class of people. So it is what it is. So, this is why I never stick with the level 100 or I never stick with the 120. Right? Because I've had a lot of guys ask me like, dude, why do you go to 125? Or why do you go to 130? Number one, I've always capped my builds between 125 and 130. And it's because I'm my own individual. On some builds, I'm good at 125. Other builds, I'm good at 130. Right? I still get mixed together with the class of players as low as, I think, 110. And I can go up to 150 depending upon what covenant that I'm in. So me personally, I don't really care anything about a meta game or the Japanese are 100, therefore I should be 100. No, I play for myself. I'm my own individual, right? And I play according to my own needs. And I basically talk about that because I've heard some guys say, it's kind of like because they value the opinions of some of these guys, they have also switched to 100. But at the same time, they talk about how much they dislike the 100. And I've always talked to myself like, dude, if you dislike 100, why are you sticking at 100? And I can understand because, there's some guys, like I said before, that are highly valued in the PvP world. And they value their opinions. And I'm good with valuing their opinions. But at the end of the day, you have to do what works best for you. Right? At the end of the day, you have to do what works best for you. If 100 works best, 100 works best. The reason why I do not like 100 builds, number one, the whole idea of level 100, at least on the American side, or non-Japanese side, I'll put it that way, mainly came with the introduction of the arena. Come on, dude, let's just be honest. Before the arena, most players, even some of the ones who today are trying to convince everyone to go to level 100, played somewhere between 120 and 125. Because the arena came up and they had the brackets, people decided to use 100. Now, me personally, I created one level 100 build. It was only for the arena. But see, me, the DLC has been out for a long time. The arena has been out for a long time. So it's no longer a new thing. It's no longer one of these things that, because it's new, everybody is flocking to it. Just like I suggested in one of my very first arena videos when the DLC was first released. I said, you know what? Everybody's going to be on this new kick only because it's new. But as time go on, they're basically just going to revert back to the builds that they had before. And they're going to revert back to the same PvP areas that they had before. And when you look at a lot of these fight clubs, check out the Twitch, that's basically what you see. You don't see a lot of guys in the arena, although some people still like the arena. But is it as popular now as it was when it first came out? No. And when you look at a lot of these so-called designated dueling areas, they're not in the arena with the limitations that were placed by, the developers and the. Now, actually, as soon as I saw this guy, I was out only for the Phantom, right? Because I said, oh, this guy is trying to dress like Martyrs von Steuben, so forget the host. I'm going after this guy. But anyway, like I said before, since all the excitement is basically gone with the arena, I mean, there was really no reason for me to keep a level 100. And this is why I don't have any level 100 builds. Now, I'm not saying level 100s can't compete. I'm just saying based upon my own interest. Because me, I like having a wide variety of weapons. I'm not the type of person who basically creates a build behind one weapon and one weapon only. Right? And so this is why I stick my builds between 125 and 130. I have one build that's a 235. And I created that build a long time ago, and that was all based that all was a result of a video that I did titled "If You Can't Dish It Out, Then Don't Take It," wherein I was fighting a guy and I was actually 125 and he ended up being like 200 and something, so I ended up increasing my levels to be a little more competitive with him. But that's about it. All of my builds are 125 to 130 with one exception of the build that's 235. So enough ranting about basically play according to your needs, not necessarily because of what some well-respected people are trying to convince you that you need to do, right? Because we all have our limitations. Not only do we have our own limitations, we all have different interests. Like I said before, my interest, I mean, think about it. The build that I have right now would be kind of hard to make at a level 100. So I don't stick within those guidelines. I create builds based upon my imagination, right? And I base that imagination around 125 to 130. 100 will give me way too many limitations. I don't care anything about facing vitality gouges. I don't care anything about facing anything when I'm fighting levels 125 to 130, because at the end of the day, if you're the type of person that does a lot of random invasions like myself, you're going to run into those guys anyway. Now, if you're one of those guys that like formal matches all the time, that's kind of like all you do. Because actually, some of the guys that I'm talking about, that's basically their bread and butter. Formal matches. They really don't participate in a lot of random invasions. So I can understand why they will place limitations on themselves with the level 100, because they're more one-on-one competitive. Me personally, I don't really like to stick with only organized matches. I like organized matches in some cases, but in most cases I enjoy random invasions. They're just far too enjoyable to me, in my personal opinion. Right, and besides that, I'm not an ultra competitive person. I mean, granted, I compete. Granted, I try to improve in the things that I do, but I'm not all that competitive. It's really not all that serious. It is what it is. All right, so enough ranting about that. Let's get back to the commentary. So, this is my Pyro Mage, for which I incorporate the lightning castings in addition to the pyro. And like I said at the outstart, I'm thinking about creating a pyro mage. Yeah. What did I say? Okay, this is my pyro cleric. Okay, yeah. I'm thinking about creating a pyro mage wherein I will use sorceries in addition to pyros, and I think that's really going to be an interesting build, so I'm looking forward to building it. I just have to figure out when's the right time to do it, and I think for that build I might dedicate that one to doing formal matchups. I don't know, that might be another forest hunting build as well, because I just really enjoy 2v1 situations, especially while forest hunting. And actually, speaking of 2v1 situations, you know what? I think I just might visit the kiln one of these days. I haven't been in the kiln in a really, really long time. And I remember the last time I was actually invading in the kiln, there were tons of gankers. So I don't know, sometime in the near future I might do, what they call a kiln cleanup, or just a series of videos wherein I am in the kiln. Because, when you check out a lot of the more recent videos, you really don't see a lot of kiln videos, unlike what you may have done, unlike what you may have seen a few months back. Because I know when I first started, a lot of people were PvPing in the kiln, until it seemed like at least every other invasion was basically or 2 or 3v1, and I think people just got discouraged, so they therefore just started to flock in the undead burg. But like I said before, I might just go ahead and do a video one of these days over there in the kiln, just to change up the environments a little bit. Alright, so enough about that. Okay, I don't know why he's throwing a Lloyd's talisman in our direction, but it's all good. Alright, so it looks like this guy is going to try to keep everyone at a distance with his Wrath of the Gods. Alright, so it looks like he is going to try to spam the Wrath of the Gods, for which I'm going to let him go ahead and use them. Think about it. He's concentrating his efforts on the Dark Wraith. At the same time, he's wasting all his Wrath of the Gods. So no, go ahead and waste them, dude. And I'll go in for the quick cleanup and the quick kill. Alright, YM4351. Let's see what this guy is going to bring to the table. Oh, actually, not YM51. That, whatever that name, I missed it. Alright, so let's see. What is this guy going to do? Alright, so he's got his little fog ring and his crystal soul spears. Okay, so it looks like he's a mage strength build just like myself. Alright, well that's all good. Take that for 700 damage, and luckily for him, he was not using the Crown of Dusk, because if he was using the Crown of Dusk, I'm pretty sure he probably would have been dead, because remember, the Crown of Dusk, although it does give you a boost, it also weakens your magic resistances. Alright, so I guess this guy's going to try to play hide and seek behind this tree, and I hate this. Come on, dude, if you're going to be here fighting, just fight. Stop hiding behind a tree. Like, seriously. Oh, okay. So this guy is kind of like a Hercules with his strength build. But guess what, dude? I can parry those. Right? It definitely has some awkward timing, but I can parry those as well. Alright, go ahead and flash. Not a problem, though, because I expect a host to flash, and why shouldn't I? Alright, this is not a formal matchup. This is forest hunting. So I expect these guys to want to survive the best way that they can. Alright, so this is pretty much it. This is the last match, last and final match of the 3-part series that I titled Whoever's the Fastest Gets the Prey. And I hope you guys enjoyed it. So, like I said before, coming up I'm going to have a Battle of the Builds. And that's pretty much it. I think that'll pretty much do it for this weekend. So I hope you guys enjoyed this 3-part series. Also, I hope you guys will enjoy the additional videos that will be uploaded in the future. So until next time, Martyrs Brigade is